What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel Anime Crossover. I'm back with a new episode of Naruto Join the Avengers Part 9. And if it is interesting video, give this video a like. And if you're new on my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 5 Infiltrator Naruto removed the shuriken from his grip before reaching into his pocket and pulling out a black shuriken with a silver edge. "These are mine," Kid declared, swiftly taking the silver one. Souvenir. Naruto cast a glance at Batman before Donna cast a gaze at Superboy. "Hey, earlier, you said you hated monkeys. Why?" Superboy sighed before continuing. "During the first week here, a G-gnome came here because he missed us, and recreated why the League doesn't use this base anymore. It involved Joker and monkeys." 3. He approached Canary, who turned to face him. "I'm ready for your training." Canary replied with a smile. "Good. Because I'm here for you." Now, August 7th, 22:42 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, just outside Gotham City. 1. Naruto and Black Canary walked up to an apartment building, up to the top floor, and to a door with the number 410 feet written on it. Naruto tapped it and waited a moment. A teenage blonde-haired girl in a bathrobe emerged from behind the closed door. 2. Cage. "Black Canary, what are you two doing here?" Before speaking, Naruto smiled. "We're here to see you, Stephanie." He pulled the door open, and he and Black Canary entered. Stephanie's eyes widened as she said, "We know what you did the other night." Flashback. Stephanie was perched on a tree, watching the team battle Amazo. She's dressed in a black-purple trimmed costume with purple knee-high boots, a pouch on her left leg, elbow-high gloves, a utility belt, and a black half mask that covers the lower half of her face with a purple cape with a pulled-up hood. 3. She observed Amazo grasp Kid Flash before going into her belt and pulling out a silver shuriken, which she tossed. When she turned around, she was surrounded by a swarm of robot MONQIs. Of course, it's never easy. She fought the robots by going into her pouch and taking out a Sansetsukan, 3-section staff. Flashback concludes. "Listen, if you want me to apologize for saving Kid Flash's." Canary cut her off. "We would like you to join the team." Stephanie went on without hearing them for a second. Then she said, her eyes wide. "Wait, what team?" Naruto asked as he approached her. "Yeah, we think you'd be a good addition to the team you saved back at school," Stephanie pondered before glancing up. "Okay. On one condition. About me. And my parents." Naruto bowed before Canary began. "Yes, we know. Your mother just died while in rehab. And your father is in prison and you're now a ward of the state." Stephanie gave a nod before saying up. "Yes. You don't tell the team about me or my parents." As Canary approached, Naruto nodded and placed a hand on her shoulder. "If that's your decision, we can make it where you're my niece. Of course, you can tell them later on if you feel comfortable about it or not. It's your decision anyway." Naruto took a look around before speaking. "Okay, we'll wait a day or two to get everything in order. First being you can live in Mount Justice, with either Canary or with me. Although you'll still have a room in Mount Justice either way for times when we're on a mission." At 23:49 ECT on August 7th, Infinity Island. A shock arrow was fired at a guard dressed entirely in black by Speedy, who was now dressed mostly in black with a red chest and collar. His quiver is now held together by 2 gray shoulder straps that span his chest, and his black gloves are fingerless. He moved quietly to a room where a young woman with blonde hair and blue eyes was working on a computer. Her hair is short, almost shoulder length in the back, and has bangs that cover her eyes. She's dressed in a lab coat with her sleeves rolled up to her elbows. The white coat contains multiple pockets, one of which holds a pen. She's dressed in dark blue ankle-length slacks and an olive green V-neck top. She wears a tiny earring in each ear. "Dr. Sterling Roquette here." As the woman stood up to look at him, he broke the door down and knocked the 2 guards inside out. "Dr. Roquette." As he walked past her, Roquette turned to the side. "Where are the others?" Speedy returned her gaze before blasting a hole in the wall. Roquette blinked. "I'm the only one." "No backup. What were their budget cuts? I tried to find Cage, but he's on another mission, as are others nearby. He shot an arrow down with a rope and attached it to the ceiling. It's now or never, Doc," Roquette said, looking at a metal tube. I can't leave without this. Speedy cocked his brow towards her. It's either you or that, Roquette groaned as she removed her glasses. Right then, take me. Roy hooked a zip line handle, grabbed Roquette, and fell as two men, one with a red light on his visor and an elderly man, ran in and peered to the tube. She's gone, but she finished it before she left, replied the one with the visor, making the elderly man grin. Mount Justice at 9:58 a.m. EDT on August 8th. McGann wore a yellow bathing suit with a bikini top and shorts, Artemis wore a dark green two-piece bikini, Starfire wore a purple two-piece bikini, Robin wore red trunks, Superboy wore black, and Calder wore dark blue. You cover up right now, young lady. When Superboy looked to where Naruto yelled, he saw Donna in a red two-piece bikini with gold stars on top and 5 on the bottom. No way, Dad, she exclaimed as she dashed by them, winking at Superboy, who lowered his gaze and blushed slightly. He felt a touch on his shoulder and turned to see Naruto glaring at him in crimson trunks with a black flame design on them. Keep your eyes above the neck, he urged as he approached Artemis and kissed her, as McGann reddened at him. They spent the day swimming, volleyballing, sand castling, and eating. Later on, inside. Recognized, Kid Flash, B04. Wally ran ahead from the Zeta tube, wearing a yellow bathing suit, sunglasses with sunscreen on his nose, and carrying a load of beach gear including an umbrella. The wall man has arrived, so let's get this party started, oof. He stumbled over the umbrella, causing a ball to bounce to Batman. He looked up and saw everyone except Donna, Green Arrow, and Black Canary. Ted, he said before hearing a feminine chuckle. Wall man, huh? I love the uniform. What's your power? Wally looked up to saw a new girl in the cave. Who are you? He inquired as he stood up. I'm Spoiler, your new teammate. Before speaking, Wally places his hands on his waist. Kid Flash, never heard of you. Canary approaches and places a hand on Spoiler's shoulder. She's mine and Cage's new protege. Both of yours? Wally inquired, noting Naruto's nod. Yes, I'm teaching her in weapons and helping Black Canary in teaching her hand-to-hand combat since I mainly use jutsus and my frog kata fighting style. At that moment, the computer spoke up. Recognized. Speedy, B09. With an eyebrow twitch, Speedy walked in. First off, it's not Speedy anymore. Call me Red Arrow. Naruto snorted and then spoke out. Yeah. Way to distance yourself from Green Arrow. As Green Arrow walked forward, Red Arrow disregarded Naruto. Roy. You look. He paused when Red Arrow approached. Replaceable. How's my replacement holding up? He asked, glaring at Artemis. Okay, Roy. What do you want? Naruto questioned, looking at Spoiler. You were right. He does have a stick up his ass. Who are you? Wally exclaimed as Canary and Spoiler both spoke up. I'm her. She's my niece. Red Arrow cocked his brow at her. I didn't know you had a niece, Canary. Aqualad approached Red Arrow before speaking up. And Artemis is not your replacement. We have always wanted you on the team. Naruto cut him off before he could finish. Not anymore with your bratty attitude. So, you have another mission for us? As Starfire spoke up, the team turned to him. Another mission, friend Naruto? Naruto nodded before continuing, pulling up a few displays with Dr. Roquette's information. Yes. He found where Dr. Sterling Roquette was taken after mysteriously disappearing 2 weeks ago. He asked for my help since I'm one of the few from the League he's able to contact, but I was preoccupied with something. Red Arrow nodded before revealing that she had been kidnapped by the League of Shadows and her department, which was working on something dubbed the Fog, a swarm of nanorobots that can eat through anything and take information from any computer, thereby providing the League of Shadows with any information they desire. He ended before Spoiler spoke up. Perfect for extortion, manipulation, power brooking. Yeah, sounds like the Shadows. Before speaking, Wally snorted. Yeah, like you know anything about the Shadows. He swears she was smiling behind the mask. Who are you? Red Arrow went on to clarify. Naruto approached her and said, she's creating a virus to kill the Fog as we speak. And where is she? A high school image appeared. She's safe. Naruto gave him a deadpan. In a school? With large windows in almost every room and no real security system. Red Arrow simply stared at him. Naruto pushed him in the shoulder and said, she's safe. I did my job. You should have brought her here. She could have done the work under the watch of the entire league. Or they may have already found her. The Red Arrow exited the tunnel. Recognized. Speedy. Red Arrow came to a halt and spoke up.
That's Red Arrow B09 update. Naruto turned to face Batman before speaking anything. I want his access restricted, at least for going anywhere other than here. He can come here by himself because there's nothing of importance here, but. He came to a halt when Wally approached. Why? Naruto asked, raising his palm to Roy. He's not a part of either team. That leaves a villain to mind control him or even make a clone of him. It's been done. Superboy's a clone of Superman. And Donna's mine and Wonder Woman's genetic daughter, and if we didn't rescue them they could have been made to fight us instead of with us. Like I said, I have no problem with him coming here. But to the Watchtower, or any secure place where there's a Zeta beam where a villain could exploit, I don't want him there without someone from the League with him. He turned to the members of the team and gave them directions. Okay, Miss Martian, Spoiler, and Superboy. I want you three to stay outside to guard the school while Aqualad, Artemis, Kid Flash, and I guard the doctor inside. Starfire extended her hand. What about me? Naruto paused for a moment before speaking. Stay in the bio ship in case we need to leave quickly, so Miss Martian can focus on any enemies that may come, especially since Donna's training with Wonder Woman right now. He heard his phone vibrate, excused himself, went outside the cave to answer his phone, and then heard a disguised voice.
There's a team going after your doctor friend. Happy Harbor High School, 8:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time on August 8th. Miss Martian, Spoiler, Superboy, and an unseen Starfire were watching the area on the roof in their stealth suits, with Spoiler wearing all black.
Miss Martian, keep Dr. Roquette out of our link unless we're relocating. We don't want to distract her from finishing the virus. She nodded, hearing Naruto's voice in her head. Okay. Is everyone online? Spoiler clutched her head briefly. This is going to take some getting used to, she thought before Kid spoke up. Good thing, because the good doctor would just complain. She has since getting the B team, as she puts it. Spoiler scoffed before turning her attention to him.
You two should get along. You did nothing but complain since getting this mission. Hey, don't need that from the newbie that drove Red Arrow away. As they argued, Naruto sighed. Okay, Kid. Roy does not want to be on this team. Get that through your thick skull. He walked over to Sterling while Robin looked at Kid. You should be nicer to her. If it wasn't for her shuriken, you'd be dead by now. Kid crossed his arms and huffed. Not giving her the satisfaction. I heard that, she said mentally as Naruto approached Sterling. Can you track the fog? She inquired, nodding. Yes, I can track it. I made it, she responded as a map depicting a plane appeared on the screen. Outside, Spoiler and Miss Martian landed with Superboy nearby and began walking. Miss. That boy. Martian gave her a look. Spoiler returned her smile and said, he heard that.
Oh, I know. Naruto spoke out after a brief pause. Land the ship, Starfire. I'm sending Robin and Superboy with you to Philadelphia. She landed the ship and switched off the cloaking so Robin and Superboy could run on board. Miss Martian and Spoiler were walking back to school when they noticed two shadows moving within the building. Naruto and Aqualad both looked to the door after hearing something. A woman suddenly leapt down from the ceiling tiles and grabbed Naruto. Her hair is short and whitish blonde, and her eyes are yellowish reptilian. She has black eyeliner over her eyes, which has partly hidden her features and highlighted her odd eyes. She has numerous tattoos on her upper body and arms and is dressed in tight, snakeskin clothes.
Larissa Diaz, an assassin in the League of Assassins, is Copperhead's real name. Thor.
Aqualad whirled around just as a dart struck his left arm, and another woman fell to the ground. She's a young woman with a slim, but fit physique. She stands 5 feet 6 inches. She has thick black hair and gray eyes, and her face is hidden behind a white mask like a cat's head with red stripes and a big grin. Her clothing is a dark green kimono with shreds and rips that is knotted around her waist and goes just beyond her knees with black knee-high boots. She also has an olive-colored skin tone that can be observed. Cheshire is a member of the League of Assassins. You understand. My darts are poison-lined, Copperhead stated as she licked Naruto's face, revealing a forked tongue, prompting the black-haired woman to turn to her. What are you up to, Copperhead? Just saying hello to my favorite hero Cheshire, Copperhead smirked before bringing Naruto to her. She kissed him on the lips as Artemis ran in and stared, and Spoiler ran in just in time to see Artemis run over to Copperhead and start fighting her as Aqualad made katanas with his water and attacked Cheshire. Naruto groaned, feeling a cut on his neck, and his vision blurred. You scumbag. He turned to see Artemis fighting Copperhead with her bow, causing Copperhead to bend back. Copperhead raised her foot and kicked Artemis's chin, causing Artemis to walk back. She dashed forward and cut Artemis's shirt, revealing a portion of her black bra. Miss Martian and Kid ran in, causing Cheshire to look to Copperhead. Retreat, and regroup. She dropped a flashbang, smoke bomb as Kid hurried to her and ran into Spoiler, who stared at her.
You let them get by you. Easy kid, Naruto said as he approached him. They got past all of us. Naruto heard Robin say over his earpiece, explaining that the fog had gotten inside Star Labs and taken whatever they could.
Okay, we'll track down the fog and catch them the next time. Let's move the doctor, he murmured as they walked away, leaving Artemis behind. Naruto unzipped another garment and handed it to her as she removed her damaged shirt.
Before Naruto turned around, she said, thanks. Later, Spoiler and Kid Flash kept an eye on Sterling as the Aqualad remained outside. Miss Martian. Stay in camouflage mode, and make a sweep. Suddenly, red webbing tied to him, and he was dragged through the trees before being thrown into a van, and I saw a man dressed in a purple spandex costume.
His mask has purple shades, with the back being dark purple and the front being regular purple, and it also has a spider emblem that takes up most of his forehead and then intersects with his golden eyepieces. The torso of the suit is dark purple, as are his hands, knees, elbow, inner elbow, and parts of his feet, while the rest of the costume is purple. He wears two dull gray bracelets around his wrist.
Black Spider is a member of the League of Assassins. Another man. A large muscular man with short gray hair wearing an open leather jacket, jeans, and a hook on his right arm, stomped on his head, knocking him out.
Hook is a member of the League of Assassins. Cheshire and Copperhead emerged from the trees at the same time, exclaiming, "Let's go. The Martian will arrive at any time." They never noticed Copperhead and Cheshire come in through the window and aim a dart at Sterling as Kid dealt with the spider-themed assassin and Spoiler dealt with Hook. She took out her staff and attacked him by putting it around his head and bringing him down on her knee. He reeled back before shooting his hook at her.
A desk suddenly appeared in front of them. The Martian has arrived. The spider-themed assassin sprayed red webbing to move the desk, prompting Cheshire to leap upon Sterling, who eventually turned into Miss Martian. As Sterling was uploading the infection, Aqualad dashed into an internet cafe down the street. He inquired, as Naruto nodded. He heard something open and looked up to see Artemis running in with her bow aimed at her. I got her, she said. Naruto nodded and went outside, where he noticed Copperhead approaching and launched a punch, causing her to jump up, wrap her legs around his neck, and throw him to the ground with a head scissor takedown before twisting her body around on him.
Gotham City, August 8, 10:30 p.m. EDT. This building is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, said the captain of the ship. There's no way we'll be able to evacuate everyone in time, Robin stated as the ship came to a halt and assessed the area.
Suddenly, Robin's glove beeped, and he brought up a screen that read, "Got the virus downloading." Superboy smirked as he peered down and saw a man with a metal tube in a van. He leapt down, making the man glance up before blasting him with a ray from his helmet, sending him flying before releasing the fog. Robin looked up at Starfire before responding. "Assist Superboy. I'll go stop the fog," he said, jumping down and running inside, past a guard, into the lunchroom, and linked up to a computer, where the fog went red and vanished. Happy Harbor on August 8, 22:58 Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Naruto was fighting Copperhead when he noticed Artemis and Cheshire jump out of the cafe, and Cheshire's mask fell off as Artemis dropped her bow, and Copperhead laughed as he saw Cheshire leave in a smoke bomb before doing the same. Until next time, Cage, she added with a wink. He hurried over to Artemis, who was still staring at the location before the others arrived, with Spoiler assisting Aqualad, who was taking darts off his chest. "Hey, Souvenir," the kid said as he raced up to her. "Did you see her face?" Aqualad looked to Artemis before speaking up. Artemis replied with a shake of her head.
No. It was too dark, so she deployed a smoke bomb as a precaution.
Aqualad nodded and turned to Spoiler, saying, "You did well on your first mission." Naruto smiled as Kid spoke up.
Yeah, can we see your lovely face? Spoiler shrugged before carefully reaching up as Naruto walked behind her, pulling the mask off, revealing another black mask. Oh, that's funny on this side, she asked, closing her eyes in a smile as Naruto took a picture of their confused expressions. I'm delighted I suggested it to her.
Gotham City, August 9th, 1:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Artemis stepped out of an empty phone booth, followed by Spoiler, when they heard a commotion and turned to the darkness, scooping up their weapons.
Come out. Someone came out mocking Red Arrow. Nice. I almost thought you were Canary's niece, he added as he crossed his arms. But we know you're not. I'm sure Cage, Black Canary, and Batman have a reason for keeping both of your backgrounds a secret. So they're safe with me. But I'm warning you. Don't hurt my friends. Naruto stepped out as the booth lit up. You don't need to worry about the Junior Justice League, Red Arrow. After all, they can handle themselves. And they have me watching their backs. Roy walked away while the girls glanced down. Just so you know, I think you should tell them. It's better to get it out now. He hugged Artemis before turning to Spoiler. Come on. I know Paula wants to see you after so long. Last time she saw you, you were 5. Infinity Island at 23:26 Eastern Daylight Saving Time on August 9th. As 4 screens appeared for the light, Sensei was meditating. Report.
Sensei spoke as he opened his eyes. Master. We got the Star Labs data before Ojo got captured. But the Wayne tech still eludes us. After he finished, another voice came out. Once again, the young heroes interfered, so it's a good thing we have an operative on the inside, he said, making Sensei smirk.
Someone came out mocking Red Arrow. Nice. I almost thought you were Canary's niece, he added as he crossed his arms. But we know you're not. I'm sure Cage, Black Canary, and Batman have a reason for keeping both of your backgrounds a secret. So they're safe with me. But I'm warning you. Don't hurt my friends. Naruto stepped out as the booth lit up. You don't need to worry about the Junior Justice League, Red Arrow. After all, they can handle themselves. And they have me watching their backs. Roy walked away while the girls glanced down. Just so you know, I think you should tell them. It's better to get it out now, he hugged Artemis before turning to Spoiler. Come on. I know Paula wants to see you after so long. Last time she saw you, you were 5. Infinity Island at 23:26 Eastern Daylight Saving Time on August 9th. As 4 screens appeared for the light, Sensei was meditating. Report.
Sensei spoke as he opened his eyes. Master. We got the Star Labs data before Ojo got captured. But the Wayne tech still eludes us. After he finished, another voice came out. Once again, the young heroes interfered, so it's a good thing we have an operative on the inside, he said, making Sensei smirk. Now. Naruto's penthouse, Gotham City, August 10th, 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Saving Time. As Paula arrived, Naruto was preparing breakfast. She welcomed Naruto as he turned the eggs. Morning. Morning. Are the girls up? He inquired, to which Paula replied with a nod. Yes. They're getting ready. I can't believe Stephanie's mother is dead. As the females entered, Naruto nodded and placed the eggs on a plate on the table. Morning, girls. Artemis stretched in her jammies, yawning. Morning. Why are we getting up this early? Smirked Naruto before responding. Some training today before I ask for a mission. August 13th, 15:28 EDT, Mount Justice. Captain Adam, a man whose entire body was covered in silver, metallic skin, except for his gloves and boots, was sitting in makeshift desks. He was giving an espionage lecture while wearing a stylized red atom symbol on his breast. Naruto, who was standing next to Adam, grinned as he noticed the bored looks on everyone, especially his daughter, who was struggling to remain awake. Sure, he thought as Adam pointed to a holographic board. And that means advanced research, hours of reading, and being on stakeouts. And, of course, you must always remain alert. Adam trailed off as he noticed everyone was looking away. Isn't this boring? He said, as the team swiftly denied it. As he stroked the back of his neck, Naruto moaned.
How can Adam make something as boring as spying sound interesting? Adam sighed and opened a classified file on the screen. All right, let's learn in the field. This is a cold case from Vietnam, he said, opening it up to reveal facts about a blonde-haired man in Army uniform. Captain Nathaniel C. Adams, United States Air Force, convicted in 68 of murdering Air Force General Clement Lamar.
He died in prison, but I heard from a reliable source that he was framed, Adams said, motioning to them. Your assignment: investigate. Prove Adams' innocence, or reconfirm his guilt, and report to me. Before speaking, Superboy raised his eyebrow. You want to send super-powered operatives for this? Adam shrugged and pointed to the board. All right, back to the lecture. No. Naruto smiled before taking a step forward. Okay, team. Artemis and I won't be on this one. We've got patrolling to do, and I've got watchtower guard duty after that. He turned to McGann and Robin. I want you two to go to DC and start there, he said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a watch. Starfire. He gazed at her.
Yes, friend Naruto. Naruto hands her the watch, which she wears on her left wrist. Press the button, she said, and she transformed. She is now a Caucasian girl with dark red hair and dark green eyes, dressed in a dark purple skirt, a lighter purple blouse, and tennis shoes.
That's so you can leave this place, and not worry about people finding out you're a hero. 1. Wednesday, August 13, 23:03 Eastern Daylight Saving Time in Washington, D.C. Miss Martian flew inside the Pentagon as Robin went via the air ducts. He quickly followed Miss Martian entered an empty restroom and metamorphosed into a female JAG officer with blonde hair and glasses. Miss Martian entered a room and found an older Caucasian man with blue eyes and gray hair sitting at a desk.
He's dressed in a green button-up U.S. military clothing with 4-star sets on either side of his collar showing his rank. He also has his name and other insignia on the right side of his jersey. Miss. As a camera emerged from the vent, Martian saluted.
General Eiling, sir. Eiling looked up from his reports to her. At ease, Captain. And sit. Mrs. As Eiling continued, Martian did the same. Would you like to tell me why the Judge Advocate General's office wants to reopen this case? He inquired as Miss Marion moaned, holding a folder.
Respectfully, sir, I can't say. You were the judge at Captain Adams' court-martial, and that makes you a witness. Can you tell me what happened? Eiling groaned and described how he found Adams guilty, condemned him to life in prison, and died a year later. August 13, 2012 Pacific Daylight Saving Time in Las Vegas. Donna, Superboy, Wally, and Starfire walked about the casino, taking in the sights. As Donna talked, Starfire looked about, noticing the lights and slot machines. There's Lieutenant Yarrow at the blackjack table, they saw. He was a Caucasian man with gray hair, blue trousers, and white tennis shoes, and he had a tattoo under his Hawaiian shirt. They approached as he passed the age of 21. The dealer turned to face them and spoke up.
No one under 21 is allowed in the casino. Donna ignored him and turned to face Yarrow. Lieutenant Yarrow. Yarrow raised an eyebrow and gazed up at them. No, retired. It's Mr. Yarrow now. He stood up and looked at an empty table outside the casino. You must be journalism students. Let's talk. My luck's run out. He went on to explain about how Adams was set up and how the court was corrupted as they sat, and that's where Judge Wade Eiling. He married Adams's wife and raised his 2 kids. Now tell me that doesn't stink to high heaven.
Arlington, 23:57 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, August 13. Robin and Miss Martian entered a room. If Adams was framed, the first person to look for is Shirley Manson, the medical examiner who said Nate wasn't drugged, he added before they observed an elderly woman lying on the floor with her right arm under her and a slash on her stomach. Only the medical examiner needs an examiner. She has something in her hand. I don't want to disturb the crime scene, but I need to see what she's holding.
Miss Martian nodded before lowering her to expose a photograph of a bunch of Americans. I'm in the military with a boy. Robin scanned it and displayed a larger version on his wrist computer.
It's a picture of a group of military people with a kid. I think the woman in it is Mason, but the 60s were a long time ago. Mrs. Before morphing into the woman in the photo, Martian nodded.
This is her in the picture. She transformed into the woman on the floor. And this is her now. Their muscular skeletons the same. The door was suddenly kicked open, and 3 police officers ran in. "All right, freeze!" screamed one, only to see Shirley on the floor and no one else. August 13, 1906, HST in Honolulu. Calder and Stephanie, now dressed in white, are conversing with Nathaniel's children at a table near the ocean. The woman is dressed in sunglasses, a scarlet long-sleeved blouse with the sleeves drawn up to her elbows, and a black skirt. The man likewise has short brown hair and blue eyes, and he is dressed in an Air Force outfit. "I'm only here for my sister's sake, Peggy. Nate Adams is not a subject I'd like to discuss," the man remarked before Peggy smacked him in the shoulder. "You're referring to our father, Randy," Randy muttered before crossing his arms. "Wade Eiling's our father. He raised us. Adams lost any rights the day he betrayed his country and murdered his superior officer. Mom never believed he was guilty, and neither did I," Peggy added before Randy raised his hand. "I love you, see, but your opinion isn't important because Dad died in prison before you were born," Peggy smiled before speaking up. "Ha. You just called him Dad later." Stephanie and Calder were walking down the beach while she was telling them about their conversation with Peggy and Randy.
"Well, Randy's intense, but he's realistic," she said, looking down at the sand. "Biology hardly guarantees parental skills, or even basic honesty. Nathaniel Adams may be guilty as charged." She looked up to see Calder looking out to sea.
"Calder? Calder?" He was startled out of his reverie and turned to face her. "My thoughts were in Atlantis with..." Stephanie cut him off by lifting her hand. "Your parents? What are they like?" she said, making Calder smile. "Shalana, my mother, comes from the Atlantean city-state of Shairis. Her skin is almost as golden as her hair.
And her gills are quite large and gorgeous," he says, placing a hand on her shoulder. "My father, Calvin Durham, is a surface worlder like you. Black Manta genetically altered me to infiltrate Atlantis as a water breather." Stephanie looked astonished.
"Does your father work for Black Mantra?" Calder finished with a shake of his head.
"He did. But his love for my mother compelled him to change sides. So perhaps we should hold off on passing judgment on Captain Adams until we know all of the information." August 14, 032 Eastern Daylight Saving Time in Annapolis. Robin, Miss Martian, Wonder Girl, Starfire in her regular form, Kid Flash, and Superboy in their stealth outfits were monitoring an elderly guy sitting in his robe drinking from a cup seated in front of an opening window.
"I know my grasp on Earth history is largely based on Earth sitcoms, Miss Martian said through their link. But why would a North Vietnamese general be photographed with US personnel in 1968? "Good question," Robin said, looking down at the image he was scanning. "My facial recognition software identified General Trang as the first individual. That, however, does not explain how Trang got up in a mega mansion in the United States. That need money and connections." Kid Flash interrupted Robin's speech, saying, "Two things participating in an illegal smuggling ring might offer." "Perhaps Adams was telling the truth," Wonder Girl said as Superboy stared to the mansion. "Yes, friends," Starfire said with a nod. "We must not allow this atrocity to continue."
Superboy's eyes widened as he utilized his thermal vision to spot a tall man in a moor with a katana. "Guys, someone else is with Trang. And he's armed with a sword."
"Shirley Mason was killed by a sword," Robin exclaimed as his eyes widened. "Then what are we waiting for?" Kid Flash said, turning to face the mansion.
Superboy was about to leap, but Robin stopped him. "No. This is a clandestine mission. We do not go on the offensive. Like Captain Adams' lecture, we stay in the shadows."
Miss Martian pulled her hood up and turned invisible as they talked, and Kid Flash flew up and phased through the wall, spotting the man with Trang, who was dressed in black gold-trimmed samurai armor. "I've been protecting you since you were a child, Reiko. Have you lost your sense of loyalty?" Trang inquired, smirking at Reiko. "I do. Just not to you." He lifted his blade, revealing it to be sparking with lightning. Reiko used his visor to observe Miss Martian's heat signature and smacked her to the ground as she became visible. "I see you have a new security system." Superboy and Wonder Girl swooped up to interrupt him. "It's not going to happen." Reiko took his sword and cut both of their chests in one blow.
Superboy felt something stream down to his stomach and looked in horror as he went to see what it was. I'm bleeding."
"What?" said Wonder Girl, whose cut was healing. But your skin should be as tough as steel. Miss. Martian raised Reiko, who threw a shuriken at her, forcing her to focus on them. Kid Flash ran in and kicked Reiko, but was bounced into a table. Starfire rushed in, her eyes and fists flashing green, saying, "You will not hurt my friends." She fired multiple beams at him, but he leapt up and threw a giant rug on them. Wait. What happened? Before Miss Martian raised the rug, Kid Flash screamed. They looked around and noticed that Reiko and Trang had both vanished. This is embarrassing, Kid Flash stated as they proceeded to the door, practically a comedy. They noticed Robin examining Trang's corpse. It would be. Trang's body screamed catastrophe if it didn't already. Bebo's Diner, Metropolis, August 14, 1:45 Eastern Daylight Saving Time. The team was sat at two tables crammed together on their phones while Donna ordered more food for them after finishing her sixth plate, which Stephanie gazed on with envy. She eats that much and still looks great. Some females have all the luck, she thinks before staring at her phone as Megan displays the link. Kids today, said Bebo, a man with short brown hair, a button-up shirt with the sleeves pushed up to his elbow, and a filthy apron. So they can avoid each other in my restaurant. He turned to face the man he was speaking with as the team displayed the photo Robin had scanned on their phones. Everyone have the photo? Robin inquired, as everyone nodded. Superboy, you alright? Donna asks, glancing at his chest with his new shirt. Superboy nodded and glanced at her. Yes. I'm perfectly fine. It's just a scratch, Robin said as information boxes appeared on the shot. I'm almost done identifying everyone in the shot. We believe this photograph was taken in 1968, the year Adams was charged with murder.
The only player not pictured is Nathaniel Adams. And General Wade Eiling, the judge who sentenced Adams to death. Then he married Adams' wife and raised his two children, Peggy and Randall.
McGann focused on a child in front of him, saying, this youngster. Could he possibly be Reiko? Trang claimed to have shielded him since he was a child. Reiko, on the other hand, stated that he was loyal to someone else. Robin focused his attention on a man with short curly hair and a mustache, saying, it's a good bet that someone was our missing CIA spook Alec Royce. This photo is starting to look like a hit list, Stephanie said, punching a button on her phone. Royce and Reiko must have discovered we're looking into Adams's case. Wally spoke up after her. And I decided to tie up loose ends. That suggests Sergeant Polk or Adam's friend Henry Yarrow are next on the list. Robin cast a glance over to Calder, who was not looking at the photo, but at one of a Caucasian teenager with ruddy hair, aquamarine eyes, and a slender build, wearing a skin-tight, light yellow tank top that bared her midriff, with aquamarine hemming in a pattern resembling a low neckline and around the edges.
Suddenly, the doorbell rang, and Naruto and Artemis entered. He walked up to the counter and ordered food, a burger and fries please. He then turned to the team and asked, anything?
Well, McGann said, looking at him. 2 people connected in Captain Adams' court-martial were slain by Reiko, probably on the direction of Alec Rios. Naruto nodded before addressing further. Excellent work. Do you require assistance? We can end our patrol sooner. No, McGann said, shaking her head. We're okay. Naruto gave them a look before saying, okay. If you need us, Stephanie has a Hiroshin, flying thunder god, Kanai on her. Naruto and Artemis stepped outside after eating their meal, and Robin asked Calder, what's our next move, boss man? Split in half, Calder said, looking up at them. One squad is investigating Polk in Metropolis, and the following guards Henry Yarrow. August 14, 18 PDT in Las Vegas. Superboy, Donna, Robin, and Wally were sitting outside a little one-story house when Donna noticed a shadow in the window and thought, looks like Yarrow wasn't in on this. Or he simply prefers the simple life. I knew I liked that guy, Wally said, nodding. Let's go ahead and warn. Boom. Crap. Exclaimed Wally as the home erupted. Yarrow was present. Wally yelled before sprinting around the home, sucking the air out of the house and extinguishing the flames. Good job, Wally, Superboy commented as he noticed an arm with an eagle tattoo on it. It's Yarrow. I know that tattoo, Donna replied as Wally crossed his arms. Unless, of course, Calder and the girls had better luck with Polk. He's also no longer alive, and our case is closed. August 14, 3:26 p.m. Mountain Daylight Saving Time in St. George. The team entered a dark hangar. Can we get this over with? Superboy asked before the lights turned on, revealing Reiko, Alec, and Henry Yarrow on a catwalk. Not surprised. Henry acts, glancing around at the team. Determined that this was a trap? He inquired, and Kid Flash nodded. We did. Despite the fact that we outnumber you 8-3. Henry laughed before pointing to Alec, who was holding a switch with his thumb on a button, and explaining it was a dead man switch before noticing someone was gone. He questioned, pulling out a revolver. Flipping your way. Robin joked before kicking him. Henry turned to face Alec, who was struggling.
Blow up this place. I'm trying. Suddenly, a ball hits his hand, encasing it in foam, before Kid Flash kicks him down. Starfire flew to Reiko, who had been blinded by Aqualad's water, before hitting him in the chest with her beams. Wonder Girl flew over, grabbed him, and threw him into a support beam, knocking him out.
Henry Yarrow, Miss. Martian said as she flew up and placed a hand on his head. We need to know the truth. Mount Justice at 11:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time on August 14. The team was reporting to Captain Adams and Naruto, with McGann going first. Adams discovered evidence of a weapons trafficking ring. He reported a decline to his superior officer, General Lemar. Unfortunately, Lemar was a ring member who recognized Adams' intelligence as an opportunity. As she continued, an image of Lemar appeared on the screen. Lemar could get rid of Adams and the ring's leader, Yarrow, Henry. Yarrow was only a lieutenant at the time, and he despised being given commands by him. As a result, Lemar informed their North Vietnamese contact, General Trang. Trang's photo appeared near Lemar. According to Lemar, Trang had just been told not to show up at the drop. Instead, Lemar secretly directed Trang to ambush the unit. Everyone, including Yarrow, was meant to die. However, Adam thwarted Lemar's plan by heroically saving himself and Lieutenant Yarrow.
Kid Flash went after McGann. So Yarrow had two problems. His incorruptible buddy Nate, and Lemar, who tried to kill him. So Yarrow pitted them against each other. It wasn't hard to get Adams riled up and drug his drink. Yarrow sent Adams to Lemar. And the drug took care of Adams, and Yarrow had Poke kill Lemar with Adams's knife to frame him. The trial was a joke, and nearly everyone was involved in the ring. Before saying anything, Adams massaged his chin. And the judge Eiling.
Robin stepped forward to respond. Eiling wasn't in the picture. He probably believed Adams was guilty. Adams turned to face McGann. Yarrow's deathbed confession didn't confirm that?
McGann replied with a shake of her head. I'm new to reading non-telepathic minds, and Yarrow died seconds after I linked.
Spoiler then spoke up, pulling up an image of Poke's residence. For the second time, Yarrow placed Poke in his house to fake his death. They both had the same tattoo. Aqualad nodded before proceeding. When we saw his house, we just thought that Poke ran. But the height of Henry belonged to Poke. Superboy approached and concluded the report. We found intel leading to St. George Airfield, and we knew it was a trap. Adams smiled as he shook his hand. Naruto observed Spoiler gazing down and said, "Good job, team." "What's wrong?" moaned Spoiler before glancing up.
That doesn't help Nathaniel Adams. Naruto chuckled before returning his gaze. I don't think so. Isn't that right, Nate? The team stared at Adams, who face-palmed.
I didn't want them knowing that Naruto. Why did you bring that up? Naruto said up after pointing to the group photo. Because they never told us about who took the picture. Honolulu, August 14, 2009, 9:16 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time Miss. Before a flare of light shone in, Martian was floating above Wade's automobile. The passenger door opened, and Nathaniel Adams with white hair emerged, followed by his children. McGann's eyes blazed as she fixed her gaze on the car before soaring out into the woods. She landed next to Naruto on his motorcycle. So? He questioned as McGann continued to explain. Wade was the boss of the ring, and responsible for the killing. August 15, 00 Eastern Daylight Saving Time in Washington, D.C. Captain Adam was outside Wade's office with a bunch of army men listening to Alec talk. That you were the boss of the ring in 68 and behind the killings last week. Adam nodded before kicking open the door and encircling Wade and Alec. As two officers apprehended Wade and Alec, Adam said, "Hello, Wade." Naruto said up after pointing to the group photo. Because they never told us about who took the picture.
Honolulu, August 14, 2009, 9:16 a.m. HST. Miss. Before a flare of light shone in, Martian was floating above Wade's automobile. The passenger door opened, and Nathaniel Adams with white hair emerged, followed by his children. McGann's eyes blazed as she fixed her gaze on the car before soaring out into the woods.
She landed next to Naruto on his motorcycle. So? He questioned as McGann continued to explain. Wade was the boss of the ring, and responsible for the killing. August 15th, 0000 Eastern Daylight Saving Time in Washington, D.C. Captain Adam was outside Wade's office with a bunch of army men listening to Alec talk. That you were the boss of the ring in 68 and behind the killings last week. Adam nodded before kicking open the door and encircling Wade and Alec. As two officers apprehended Wade and Alec, Adam said, "Hello, Wade." Now. July 27, 21:57 CDT in New Orleans. An old man in a black suit and a cane was walking down the sidewalk and stopped at a door with Madame Xanadu on it. He checked his pocket watch before walking in, and a woman with deep tan complexion entered through a beaded curtain. She has long black hair pulled back into a low ponytail, green eyes, 3 gems on her brow, and a beauty mark under her left eye.
She's dressed in a red see-through shirt over a black top, a sleeveless white button-up showing her cleavage, and a black choker with a gold pendant. She was dressed in a black skirt with a purple belt tied around her waist and high-heeled boots. She is wearing gold hoop earrings, crimson lipstick, and rings on all of her fingers and thumbs.
Madame Xanadu here. A.N. Type Madame Xanadu Young Justice for a better image.
She approached him and smiled. Bonsoir, monsieur, Mr. How can Madame Xanadu assist you? Xanadu inquired in a Creole accent. Ah, there is someone you wish to speak with, she said, smiling as she looked at his watch. Your wife.
Before speaking, the man nodded. Yes, my beloved Inza, Xanadu said as she sat at a table with a crystal ball. Then Madame will make contact, if fate is kind.
Sigh. He rarely is. He sat before she cleared her throat.
Oh right, he said, handing her a bundle of cash, which she placed in her cleavage and closed her eyes. The wind increased up, and the table trembled as Xanadu's hair began to float up. Oh, my darling, how I missed you, Xanadu exclaimed, her eyes flashed white. I'm so lonely here, and cold, the man exclaimed. Ha! That's the best you could do. As she scowled, Xanadu's eyes returned to normal. Imbecile, you have broken the spell. Your wife is forever lost, the man said, chuckling.
Was that supposed to be my wife? Ha! My little Spitfire would have kicked my ass for wasting good money on you, Xanadu said as she stood up and crossed her arms under her bust.
No refunds for non-believers. I'm the non-believer. You're still using tricks. Naruto told me you have the gift for magic. I thought you were supposed to be training under Zatara?
Another large man appeared and snatched the old man before she could respond. He has black hair that is pulled back in a ponytail, sideburns, and a goatee beard. His face is small, and he has brown eyes.
He's dressed in a poet shirt that reveals his hairy breast and a gold necklace, with black pants, black gloves, and a gold belt buckle with the letter A on it. In addition, he wears an earring in his right ear.
Abracadabra is a villain who uses magic. They vanished in a flash of light, and Xanadu exclaimed before raising her skirt up to expose a garter carrying a tri-pronged knife on her thigh. She then grabbed it and dashed to the rear room. As she walked away, the elderly man's cane floated up and vanished in gold light.
Mount Justice. 1939 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, August 19th. Aqualad and the shirtless Superboy circled each other as Donna and Stephanie looked on. Initiate. Combat training. 3, 2, 1. Stephanie gazed at Donna as they ran to one another. Calder's nice. Handsome. Commanding. You should totally ask him out. Donna crossed her arms. No. He's like family. But I think the cutest couple would be you and Wally. They turned to look to their right, where Wally was devouring a burrito. Stephanie asked as Donna nodded, really? Yes. You're full of passion. He's full of. She paused before Stephanie spoke up. It. They chuckled as Superboy slung Aqualad over his shoulder. As Red Tornado emerged from his room, the computer began to say, fail, Aqualad. Wally dashed over to him. Any missions for us? Red Tornado made a shaky motion with his head. Mission assignments are Batman's responsibility. Wally smirked before speaking up. Yeah, well, the Batmans with Cage and Robin over in Gotham. But you're headed somewhere. Hot date, or a mission. As Starfire, Artemis, and McGann stepped over from the kitchen, Aqualad looked to Red Tornado. If we can be of help.
This is Kent Nelson. A friend, he's 106 years old, Red Tornado said, bringing up a screen and keyboard with an image of the elderly man.
Wally muttered something to Artemis and Stephanie. Doesn't look over 90. Red Tornado kept on, not hearing Wally get elbowed by Stephanie. A Naruto informant informed us that he was abducted by Abracadabra 28 days ago, he said as he finished bringing Kent's costume up. The costume consists of a golden helmet that covers his head but does not cover his ears. He's dressed in a long, high-collared cape with 2 huge buttons. A blue shirt with a golden oval set in the chest is underneath. He also wears deep blue slacks with golden boots and a wide golden belt with a circle in the center. He was a member of the Justice Society, the precursor to our Justice League. After Red Tornado had done, Calder spoke up. Of course. He was Earth's Sorcerer Supreme. He was Dr. Fate. Wally snorted again before whispering to the girls. Please. The guy does a little science, which Dumbledore calls magic to scare the bad guys and impress the babes, Red Tornado said, brandishing a golden key. We've been taking turns guarding his tower where his helmet resides. Today was my turn. McGann approached him. He is like the great priest and priestess of Mars. I would be honored to help.
Wally raised his hand swiftly. Me too, he exclaimed, drawing everyone's attention to him. So honored. Magic rocks, he said as Stephanie grimaced.
Donna sighed as she sweated profusely. This will not end well for him. Lying always comes back to bite you in the $1, she reflected as Wally hurried to McGann. What are the chances that we both love magic? Salem, 2022 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, August 19th.
Stephanie turned to Wally in a disguised bio ship. So, Wally, when did you discover your love for the mystic arts? She inquired. Everyone dressed casually.
Well, I don't want to brag, but before becoming Kid Flash, I considered becoming a wizard. Everyone rolled their eyes save McGann, who was flying the bioship. We've reached Red Tornado's coordinates, McGann stated as he approached an empty field. An orange-stripped cat with red eyes snarled as they landed across the street outside an overcrowded theater. Inside, Kent was restrained on stage as Abra questioned him. The cat jumped into the lap of a boy, who began petting him while watching the show. He has long, slender limbs, a slender neck, and an angular face. He has mop-top black hair with V-shaped bangs and devil horns rising over his ears to points slightly above the top of his head. His brows are arched, and his sideburns taper to a point. His fingernails are similarly long, pointed, and black. His attire is formal and primarily black, with the exception of a white shirt with a tall, stiff collar.
On top of that, he's dressed in a black narrow tie, black slim trousers, pointed shoes, and a jacket. The jacket has long sleeves with flared, pointed cuffs and a skirt that is similarly long and curved to come to a point at the front, comparable to a conventional suit jacket around the chest and shoulders. The jacket is buttoned around the waist with 2 short button straps. This is Clarion, a Chaos agent. August 19th, 2048 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, Cape Canaveral. 1. Cage, Batman, and Robin were engaged in combat with Shadow members at a launch pad where a missile was about to go off. As Robin leapt over to and knocked their pistols out of their hands, Naruto made several clones. We need to stop that rocket. Robin dispatched a few more guards before speaking out. Go. I'll run interference.
A huge man stood in front of Batman and Naruto as they hurried to the rocket near a gas truck.
He has a powerful build and huge fists. He has a ring on his left ear, is bald, and has bulging eyes. He's dressed in a functional utility bodysuit that includes a green shirt, gray cargo pants, robust boots, and a utility belt with numerous pouches. He also has thick bands wrapped around his wrists.
This is Yubu, a servant of the League of Assassins chief. You won't interfere with the master's work, he roared, lowering both of his hands, forcing Batman and Naruto to duck.
Batman roared, kicking him in the jaw. The master needs to learn disappointment. As Robin hooked a hose around Batman's ankle, Ubu grabbed his throat and lifted him to the tank. Naruto jumped up and punched him, forcing him to let go of Batman. Cobra Panchi. Cobra Punch. The truck drove away, taking the man along with it. Naruto approached Batman and spoke up. If Ubu's here, she won't be far behind, he said as he watched Robin exit the truck. Let's go, they said as they dashed to the steps and gazed up. Bang. When a bullet struck the beam in front of them, Naruto drew his bow and whirled around. Hello, Talia, he said, holding up a revolver. Talia is a woman of Arabian descent. She has high cheekbones, a pointed nose, green eyes, and long brown hair pulled back into a ponytail. She's dressed in a full-body green and black jumpsuit with matching gloves and boots, as well as a white belt and holster. Naruto. Beloved. Control panel. Inside, a dark-haired Caucasian girl with green eyes was talking to one of the males on the computer while wearing purple lipstick, a darker-colored blazer, and a single purple bead on a necklace.
Carol Ferris here. Tom. Shut down the launch. Tom sighed as he typed on the computer. Carol moaned as she ran her hand through her hair. I can't, Carol. The controls are hacked. And I'm guessing that someone did something inside the rocket also. Salem. The 10th of August, 2001 Eastern Daylight Saving Time. The team searched the open area for Ken's tower. Wally raced ahead of the others. Nothing. Maybe it's camouflaged?
Before speaking, Artemis raised an eyebrow. What do you think? Adaptive microelectronics combined with phase shifting. Wally only nodded before responding. Absolutely. He stopped off as he saw Magan approach him. Not. Obviously, we're dealing with magic. Before whispering, Starfire looked to Donna and Stephanie. Why does friend Wally tell the non-truths?
Donna responded by looking at her. You know, don't you? Starfire gave a nod. Yes. When he was at the cave, he was talking to other protégés about the magic is not real. Stephanie sighed and crossed her arms. He's trying to get on Magan's good side.
Calder took a glance at the gold key with the word, insert, written on it. It's a test of faith. He moved in front of them, pushed the key forward, and turned it. As the team stared on in disbelief, a tall stone tower arose.
They entered a chamber, and the door vanished. Superboy turned around and said up. Where'd the door go? In front of them appeared a hologram of Kent. You have entered with a key. But the tower doesn't recognize you. Please state your business and intent. Wally approached and cleared his throat. We are true believers here to see Dr. Fate. The hologram grimaced before leaving, and the floor disintegrated a second later, revealing a pit with lava at the bottom.
Ah! They shrieked as Magan seized Wally. Donna grabbed Superboy, and Starfire grabbed Stephanie, while Artemis grabbed Calder with her grappling crossbow. Magan began to glide down as she sweated. Having trouble maintaining altitude. I'm so hot.
Before speaking, Wally smirked. Stephanie and Artemis both deadpanned as she said, You so are. Wally. Hey, inches above death, I'm entitled to speak my mind, Calder said, wiping his brow. Magan and I can't handle extreme heat. We need to get out of here quick. Magan slapped her across the face. Hello, Megan. We never truly answered the question, she cried, looking up at the ceiling.
Red Tornado sent us to see if Mr. Nelson and the helmet are okay.
As everyone descended, a floor closed over the lava. This floor should be scorching hot, but it's cool to the touch, Calder muttered as he kneeled and felt the ground. Wally smiled as he slipped his arm around Magan's. Don't worry, Megalicious, all.
Wally was interrupted by Stephanie, who shoved him back. Enough. You're little. Impress Magan at all cost. Almost got us killed.
What did I do? Wally inquired, his face flushed. You lied to that hologram when you said you were a true believer. Magan scowled as he glanced at Wally. Wally, you don't believe? Wally sighed as he looked around. Fine, fine. I don't believe, all right. But magic is the real lie, a major load. Wally. I trained in Atlantis sorcery for a year, and they created the skin icons that power my water, Aqualad explained as Wally sneered. Dude, ever hear of bioelectricity? Hay in primitive culture fire was considered magic. Stephanie let out a snort before speaking up. You're close-minded for someone who can break the sound barrier in his sneakers.
That's science. I recreated Flash's experiment, and boom, here I am. Everything can be explained by science.
Aqualad noticed a door latch and groped for it. Let's put that theory to the test, he said, leading Wally to exclaim. Wait. The backdraft. He came to a halt when the wind and snow began to blow. It's snow, McGann murmured, feeling the snow as Stephanie turned to look at Wally. Tired of being wrong? When they jumped down, they saw a snowy mountain. Wally returned his gaze as the door vanished. Well. He returned his gaze to Stephanie, who was smirking. String theory. We're in a pocket dimension. McGann spoke up, and she huffed. Guys. When they turned around, they noticed a cane floating above. What is it? Stephanie said before stepping over and grabbing it, as did Wally. I can't let go. I can't let go. They both yelled before glowing and being hoisted into the air before disappearing. Friends. Starfire cried as she flew higher, but she couldn't see them. McGann looked to Calder as they began walking. I don't get Wally. It's like he needs to believe magic isn't real. Calder groaned before proceeding to explain. He uses his knowledge of science to control what he can't comprehend. Acknowledging the existence of magic would be to relinquish the last of that control. Starfire and Donna, who were flying above them, gestured ahead. There's a door. They noticed an open door while looking at a mountain. Together with Wally and Stephanie, they arrived out of nowhere in a room filled with stars. Abracadabra, shouted Wally, seeing Abra with a bound Kent and Clarion.
Kent swooped over, grabbed the cane, and used it to release himself from his shackles. Let's go, he said, as an elevator appeared, and they entered.
No. I want the helmet. I want it. Kent turned to face the two heroes inside the elevator. I'm Kent Nelson, by the way. Wally sighed and rolled his eyes. Yeah, we know, he remarked sarcastically before Stephanie elbowed him. My name is Stephanie, and Mr. Manners here is Wally, Kent said, smiling. Well, Stephanie, we're dealing with a being with mystic powers, Wally said, snorting. Abracadabra? Flash proved he uses future technology to simulate magic. Kent nodded in agreement. You're right, Wally said, widening Stephanie's eyes. He is. Before speaking, Kent raised his cane. Abra is a charlatan. But Clarion. That boy with the cat. He's the real deal, a Lord of Chaos. The enemy of a Lord of Order like Dr. Fate. And you're a Lord of Order? Wally inquired, shaking his head. No, I'm just a Coat Fate War, he said, looking at his wife. Until my wife, Inza, persuaded me there was more to life. She was a real pistol, he said, closing the watch and looking up. Anyway, if Clarion gets his sticky little hands on the helmet, the world will end. The elevator came to a halt, and they emerged to find a large gold bell.
Whoa. As Abra attacked them, the squad tumbled from a roof entrance. Kent and Wally ring the bell, which glows. They walked in, followed by Clarion.
Outside the top of the tower, Wally and Kent emerged from behind a floating gold helmet. Clarion assaulted Kent as he reached for it. As Clarion pitched a tantrum, he swiftly cast a spell, whacked the floor with his cane, and created a bubble to protect them.
Not bad for a fake, Kent muttered before collapsing as Wally caught him. It's up to you, Wally said, surprised.
What? But I don't know. He was cut off by Kent. Have faith in what you can't explain. Believe in what you can no longer deny. He went limp as Wally immediately performed CPR. 28-29. Nothing happened to compel Wally to raise his head to look at the helmet. Test of faith, huh? He asks, reaching up and grabbing the helmet. Hey, if you put that on, you might never get it off, Clarion teased as the barrier vanished and Wally donned the helmet. Huh? Wally inquired, seeing nothing but blackness ahead of him. Okay, I'm just imagining this, he added before Kent could respond. You still don't believe? How did you become so stubborn in 15 years? Wally looked around and spotted Kent. But Kent nodded and explained that Nabu, the true owner of the helmet, was influencing his body and drawing him in.
So, what's going on outside? Kent asked, bringing up a screen showing Nabu fighting Clarion evenly until he attacked his cat.
Seems like that cat is what keeps Clarion in this world, Kent commented as Clarion retreated. So, why isn't Nabu taking off the helmet? Suddenly, the helmet appeared in front of them and said that the world needs him and that he won't let Wally's body go. The world needs me. It needs order. I'm not going to let chaos rule the world, Kent sighed before speaking out. This boy's mind and body belong to science. Let him go, and he'll find you a new, better host. Until then, I'll stay, and keep you company. Wally gazed at him with wide eyes. No, Kent. What about your wife? Kent gave a brief smile.
That's the beauty of eternity. It's eternal, he continued, again gazing at his watch before turning to face Wally. Some free advice before you go. Find your own Spitfire that won't let you get away with nothing. Like that.
He was cut off as Nabu removed the helmet and Wally approached Kent's lifeless body. He gave him the watch once more before standing up and departing. August 19, 20 EDT, Cape Canaveral. You can't stop us, Talia, Batman said, staring at Talia, who was still holding the pistol at them. Talia sighed and looked at them, saying, I must be beloved. This does not sit well with me. But I can't risk a fight between the only two men I care about. As Batman fired his grappling gun, Naruto fired an arrow with a rope connected to it, saying, Then you have to shoot us. They hurried to the top of the rocket as Talia placed her rifle down, lifting the top up to reveal a diamond lens. This will be difficult to destroy, Naruto murmured before hearing a masculine voice behind them. That won't be necessary, Naruto. Naruto whirled around to see a towering and intimidating man with green eyes, black hair with gray streaks, a long black mustache, and wild, black brows.
He's dressed regally, with a high-collared green cloak with enormous gold buttons covering the most of his attire and a black vest with gold hems, a white undershirt, and a golden sash, black slacks, and knee-high black boots underneath.
Ra's al Ghul, Batman muttered, staring him down.
Such contempt. Ra's grinned before speaking. And yet, Bruce, I've always admired you.
Until recently, I believed you were the only one worthy of my legacy. He closed his eyes before continuing. Why must our encounters always be thus adversarial? Naruto cast a glance towards Batman, who spoke up. Something to do with your disdain for human life. Ra's opened his eyes and spoke up.
It is true that the human race is ruining the world. You can handle it. I can't. But I believe I've reached a fair compromise. He went on to say that he'll use a satellite to use the sun's rays to destroy the world's cities while leaving the forests alone, and that he'll even spare Gotham because you've grown an unhealthy attachment to the city. All of this is possible if you would join me, he said, as the two declined. As Robin jumped up with the lens, Ra's pulled out a remote. Gotcha knows. The cone lens. Ra's narrowed his eyes as he taunted.
No, how come the bad guys always say no? Robin sighed as he approached the cliff. I mean, I have it right here, he said, holding the lens over the cliff. You're in denial, Ra's. Have you ever considered Banger Nile instead? He dropped the lens with Ra's jump, and it fell in front of Talia. Batman groaned and said, She'll hate me for that.
Maybe. Naruto knelt before looking up at the Dark Knight. I'm certain she'll use me to vent. Either way, with a spar. Talking. Or possibly shooting me.
As they observed Yubu pick up Ra's before boarding a chopper, a voice came via their earpieces. Master Bruce. Dick, Master. Naruto. Red Tornado has issued an emergency alert to me. A family member has passed away.
Mount Justice at 3:48 p.m. EDT on August 20th. As soon as Stephanie spoke up, Wally placed the helmet on his souvenir display. Never said what happened after you put on the helmet.
I don't really know how to explain it, Wally said, glancing at her helmet. It was like being in limbo. I was talking to Kent, and every time my body was hit, I felt it, he stated as he looked down. Stephanie moaned and walked away. Listen. Robin is taking Starfire to watch the magic performance tomorrow. Do you want to accompany me? It will distract you from what transpired. Wally returned his gaze to the helmet, recalling Kent's final words, find your own little Spitfire. One that won't let you get away with nothing. He returned his gaze to Stephanie, raising an eyebrow. Really? He inquired, not watching Naruto enter the room and look at the helmet for a while. Alright, Nabu. I'll find you a new host so Kent can be with Inza, he sighed before glancing up. Dad. Are you okay? He turned around to see Donna approaching the entrance. I'll be fine, Donna, he answered before spotting the tickets in her hand. Are you going somewhere? She replied with a nod. Yeah, I was going to ask Superboy out to that magic show everyone is going to, he said, twitching his eyes and gesturing at her. No way. You're far too young to begin dating, she averted her gaze from him. I'm 16 years old, I can go on a date, he said as he crossed his arms and looked at her. You're not even a year old yet. I'm still going out, she said as she walked away from Naruto, who had squeezed his nose. I swear she's going to be the death of me one day.
2. Salem, August 21st, 1607 Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Rain fell as the team, dressed in their costumes, stood with their mentors and the rest of the league in front of Kent's and his wife Inza's grave markers, as Red Tornado delivered the eulogy. To be a hero, Kent Nelson did not need a magical helmet. He dedicated his life to it. He gave his life to protect the world from evil. May he find peace with his wife, Inza. Spoiler paused for a moment before returning his gaze to Kid Flash. Later, as Naruto, Green Arrow, and Batman approached Artemis, Green Arrow remarked, "We'd like to place you under arrest." Artemis' eyes widened.
3. Infinity Island. August 25, 2316 ECT. Our master is ready to emerge, Sensei said, staring at a stone coffin filled with green liquid. But he will be weak.
Ubu, now dressed in light green pants, plain black boots, a white blouse with laces across the chest, and black bands around his wrists and waist, turned to face him, saying, "Master is never weak, Sensei." Sensei nodded before Talia spoke up.
She's dressed in light-colored slacks and a blouse that exposes her midriff, shoulders, and chest, as well as gold earrings and a beaded belt. My father lives, nothing matters. Sensei bowed and spoke up, indeed. Such are the Lazarus Pit's gifts. That is its curse.
Roz screamed as Ubu ran up to wrap a robe around him, but he was suddenly punched and collapsed to his knees.
Please accept my apologies, Ubu. Resurrection is disconcerting.
It is I who should apologize, Master. Ubu shook his head, wiping his face. I couldn't stop the bat or his brat with cage.
Preparations must be made, Roz said as he adjusted his robe and turned to face Sensei. The serpent in the garden. Prepare, but don't activate, Sensei said, as Talia looked stunned.
Who is the serpent? No, Father. I still have hope that neither will be necessary, Roz said as she moved over and lifted her chin. Such safeguards may become outdated as a result of our work with the light. However, and there may come a time when only Eden will suffice. He headed to the stairs. Ubu, come with me.
Talia groaned and turned to face Sensei. He's still reeling from the pit's effects. He'll change his mind, Sensei said as the hole bubbled.
I'm glad you think so, lady. But the master's mind is definite. It doesn't move with the breeze. They were startled to hear a voice emanating from the pit. Ta-al-ia. They turned to see Roz step out before transforming into her, and then into a big, humanoid lump of wet clay with sharp fangs set irregularly in his jaws, like dried clay, and blank white eyes. Ta-al-ia. He screamed as Sensei turned to face Talia. I blame you for this. To be continued.
That's it for this part, guys. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope it did enjoy the story, and if it did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for your support, and have a great day.